All right. I think we're good up there. I think we're good down here. Cool, cool, cool. All right, welcome to Sunset Spark Live. I'm Galen. Today, we're going to be working on protest robots based on the state of America, the state of New York City. We thought it would be appropriate to show our support in ways that we can. And so today we have our protest robot. We're going to be putting the design on the internet so everyone can actually copy straight from the model if they want to. But we also have the video where you can build along. So we're gonna build our protest robot, and then we're gonna add a sign to it for a statement of that a robot would be protesting. If you look online, I'm not going to do a presentation on this, but there's actually a few people who've designed protest robots that you can see online. If you just search protest robots, you'll find a few of them. There's one that's completely wirelessly controlled, so you can protest from the safety of your own home or a remote location. And the robot, it's a bit DIY, but it rolls around and has a speaker on it and a camera, so you can control it remotely. There's also ones that you can just put in place, and they'll hold a sign and kind of move the sign up and down. Today's robot is more along the lines of that, where our robot today is going to, one hand is going to hold a sign, so it'll lift the sign up, and the other hand is going to shake its fist to say that they are ready and they support change. So, since we're not building regular style, I'm going to pull out all the pieces that we need and do this a little slower so that if people are watching at home, they can follow along. Okie doke. All right, so we are going to need everything to clean this sheet. We are going to need two, let's see, let me make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 holes, all right, that's what I thought. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So we're gonna need two 13-hole beams. We are going to need one 9-hole beam. And we need two of the longest lift arms in the kit. We're going to need one of these angled beam lift arms. We're going to use a rectangular frame. The one I'm going to build on here is slightly different than the one in the... Let's move them that way so we can all see. Okay. Let's see. We got to get... I don't have them all my pieces set up. This is a bit different. We're going to use... No, not that one. We need two of those. They're the length 13 axles. I only have one in here though, so I'm gonna have to go find another one in a moment. We're gonna use a shorter axle too. It's a, oh, sorry, this isn't a 13, this is a 12 length axle and a 8 length axle. We're gonna use one of the little red axles. And we're also going to use, I like to put them next to the pieces so people can see how long they are. And we're going to use two of these axles, which are length 5. What else we got? We need some gears. We're going to use 2 gears. We're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4 of the long red axle connector pegs. We're going to use 2 of the long friction blue pegs. I'm going to use 3 of the frictionless gray pegs. We're going to use 3 of the frictionless beige axle connector pegs. We're going to use 1 blue with friction axle connector peg. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 black pegs. What am I missing? All right, now we're going to use 2 of these right angle axle connectors. Number 6, if you look at the number. We're going to use 2 number 1 axle connectors. We're going to use whatever the heck this thing's called. I'm going to use that as a fist. We're going to use this little special connector. And I think that almost covers it all. I think there's one thing we're missing is a motor. We've got our motor here. All right, so let's start building. One moment, let me check something in the back. Cool, that's good to know. I got a new router to see if I could figure out what was happening with some of our streaming issues. So I just had to check some stats on it. All right, so now that we've got all this, oh, you can't see my wonderful face and facial expressions. All right, I'm gonna just wipe that off the mat. Oh, some of them spilled. Yeesh. Okay, now we got all of our pieces. We're gonna do step number 1. We're gonna take those 2 13 length beams. We're gonna take the 2 long lift arms. And we're going to take 4, the only 4, I believe, black pegs that we have. And we're going to stick those, I'll do one side over here, no, down here. So we're going to put them in like that. So you're going to put one in the very first hole after the cross hole, and then one right at the elbow of this, where it bends. And then, this is kind of important or else your robot will fall over. We're going to plug this black peg into the 3rd hole down here, the 3rd hole. 1, 2, 3. So we're just going to make sure that it plugs into the 3rd hole. So it kind of looks like a long heel to a boot. That way, it can stand up. I mean, it's not going to stand up now, but it will stand up later. All right, and we just do the other side because our robot's going to be symmetric, so we want to have 2. I think it goes like this when we build it. All right, we got that. Next up, we're going to take our motor. We're going to take the frame beam, and we're going to use 2 red pieces, 2 red connectors. Just going to put that on, and we're going to put it in the middle. Like that. So our robot will stand up like this eventually. But for now, we'll move that. Oh, actually, we need this for the next step. The next step, we're going to use that one lone axle that we had, and we're going to take the 2 gears that we had. We're going to put the axle straight through here. It's important for this step to get the exact size of the axle, which was, I think, length 5. Let me double check that. This is the length 5. You want to make sure it's the exact size because we can't have the axle sticking out at all. We're going to put the 2 gears on. We can't have the axle sticking out on either side. So do you see how it's flush here and flush down there? If it sticks out at all, it's going to mess up the robot, so we don't want it sticking out. Let's take a little break. Let any viewers at home who might be building this at another point catch up. Here's what it looks like from underneath. We also have these pieces from earlier. All right, let's set that all aside. Actually, no, let's bring it all back in, because we're going to use 2 blue pegs. This is a step students always have problems with in class. So these long blue pegs can be split into thirds. If you look, there is a way to split them into thirds. And so there's a short side over here and a long side over here. We're going to put the long side in on top here so that it's got pieces on both sides, like that. But you have to start by putting in the long side. If you put in the short side, you can't push it in anymore. No good. Just got to flip it around and do that. Okie doke. All right, and then we're going to take our legs so that they're sticking up like this. So I have them up, and we're just going to put them on like that. It's a good parity check there to make sure that you're doing it right. Okay, now it stands. Now it stands up. All right, now we've got to work on our arms. First part is going to be making the arm that's shaking its fist to let them know that they're mad and they want change. They're not happy with the way the world is working and they'd like to see something different. Okay, so we're going to take, we got these 3 pieces. We're going to put in the red one there. And then this side, we're going to put, this is kind of important on this, we're going to put it on, basically you have to make sure you make a left arm and a right arm. So however you want to do this, just make sure you're consistent. So here's one side, that's going to be one arm. Now let's do the other arm. The other arm is the straight 3-hole beam. We're going to take a gray, stick it in the last hole. We're going to take a blue one, take that thing, and a blue axle, and we're going to plug it in like that. All right, so we've got 2 arms. This is going to be the one that holds the sign. All right, so we've got our arms. Now we need to build the shaft part that's going to move the arms up and down. So we can put our arms to the side here. For this, we're going to use the 2 right angles. We're going to use, oh, I need another axle, hold on. I used all my other long axles last week when I was making that fish robot, and I haven't taken a picture. Actually, I've got a backlog of like 5 robots that I have to photograph and build instructions for. Oh, I grabbed the wrong length, right? What am I doing here? We need a length 13, and that's like 13, but this is length something else. Hold on. All right. So Where did we leave off? We use that. I'm just going to set it up how I would build it. You know what I'm realizing? When I look at this on the screen, it's upside down compared to how I see it, so that might be more confusing for you all. I can't believe that I've been doing this for like 5 months now on video, and I just realized that it's always upside down. Okie doke. And we need 2 gray frictionless pegs, because this part's going to be moving a lot. So we need frictionless pegs. We're going to use the beige frictionless axle pegs as well. And I'll do one side over here, plug it in. You just want to stick it all together. Make sure that the peg is sticking up over here and it's off to the side on the other side. And this is important to get the placement right, because you're going to have 2 sides to this and you want to make sure it's symmetric. And we just have to make sure that you can put your 2 pieces together like this so that the beige pegs touch and the gray pegs are both going up, because that's how it's going to sort of connect to our robot. All right. Actually, we're very close to being done. Step 8, we're going to take the body here and we're going to put the arms on. We're going to put them up here in the corners of the frame piece. Oops. Put that over there. So we'll move that right there. Snap that one in right here. Now they wiggle. That's because we're using the frictionless pieces, so they wiggle a lot. So when we stand it up, they're going to wiggle, which is good, because now we get to the next step. We're going to take our 2 shaft pieces that we've been building, and we're going to start by connecting them to the wheel, to the gears down by the motor. And then we have to connect them to the arms. In my picture here, I connected to the 4th hole, or the 4th connector spot, not really hole. So if we look up here, got 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here. Let me just hold that close so everyone can see who's watching at home. To the 4th hole. And the other one is going to be connected to the 4th one as well. So that looks like that. So now when we spin, it's lifting its sign, shaking their fist. All right. Now we've got to make a head. Normally in class we use paper heads, where kids can make their own robot heads. I didn't print out any heads ahead of time, so I'm going to put something together with the ultrasonic sensor. Something we have to be aware of is that we're going to connect our motor up here, so we have to make room. We can't just put it on like this because there's not going to be room. We can't put it on like that because there won't be room for the wire. But for the head piece, I've got this here. This is what we normally do. Normally, we take that, we plug it in, and then you can cut out your own head and put it on here. Maybe if you're at home and you have a printer, you could take a picture of your own head, cut it out, and put it on there if you want the robot to look like you, or you could just draw one. Question from the chat. They don't all have ultrasonic sensors. The retail kits, I think, come with the infrared sensor, not the ultrasonic sensor. Maybe. The education kits come with the ultrasonic sensor, though. The core one, the education one, has it. The retail one has a infrared sensor and a remote control that goes with it. So if I want this head to stick on here, I'm going to me just think this through for a moment. I put that on, put that on. I'm trying to think if I should go with the infrared sensor or if I should just print out a picture. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use these two. So, like I said, if you're doing this at home, you definitely want to use an axle with the red piece like this, and then you cut out a head and you just tape it on here. We're going to do the same thing with the sign in a moment, so you can see what I do there, but you can do that with the head. But I'm going to use the infrared sensor for now. And let me get some short little axles here to connect all this together. The core is the education one. So the education one comes with a rechargeable battery. This is in the chat. Rechargeable battery, the ultrasonic sensor, and there's slightly different pieces. Like the retail one in the stores comes with a remote control for it, like a little tiny remote control. I have one somewhere that hooks up to the infrared. Okay. Here we go. All right, so there's our robot all put together. Not running yet, but give it a moment. So the sign we're going to use, just like I said for the head, for the sign, we're going to take this. And let's cut out a sign. Let me get some paper. Forgot to get tape. All right. So your sign, you really just want to tape your sign on here. You can make it as big as you want. Whatever can be held. I'm going to cut mine out to be like, let's cut a couple out. Save that for later. Here's a sign. All right, so we're just gonna, once we draw our sign, we're gonna tape it on here. Yeah, you definitely want to get the education one, Kazazi, if that's what you mean by the right one. The education one is the better kit. Lego's releasing a new retail version of the kit, I think this summer. A retail one that's got like better parts in it, similar to the education one. But the education one's definitely where it's at. Okay, so protest signs. One's, let's see. Defund the NYPD. Underline that a couple times. Put some periods here. If you get it from the Lego website, it's the one on the Lego Education website. It'll say core set when you get it. All right, and then we're just going to tape. Just going to tape this. All right. Let's flip to the other camera. Push, pull. Okay, I got to get a controller. Hold on. I'm going to use Elo's Turtle controller right now. So we're just going to do this on motor control. Let me look some other stuff here. Okay. All right, so now our robot will, actually, I will program it just so that it moves while I'm talking. Oh, it's a little slow. What happened? Something wrong with this motor, I think. Of course, I'd build it with a broken motor for something that we're going to share out, of course. Let me try a different port on the off chance that it's unrelated. Well, let's try another wire on the off chance that it's a bad wire that I grabbed. Could be any number of reasons why this isn't. Let's try another wire. Okay, so this is moving very slowly because the motor seems to be broken. That's exciting. All right, let me get another motor. I should just be able to pop everything off pretty quickly. Please hold. Oh, put the legs on backwards. Whoops the daisies. Oh, by the way, while I'm putting this back together, depending on how you connect the two crankshafts to the gear, you can make it alternate its arms going up and down. Anyway, not important. Everything's connected now. All right. There we go. Let me go back to the program for that. Very uncomplicated program. It's just moving the motor. Okay. Let me, here, let's use this. There we go. All right, so let's do another one. Another thing, one of the demands of the protesters that I've seen is, this seems like a really important one, end qualified immunity. So qualified immunity is something that keeps police from getting sued and getting into financial and legal troubles when they do their indiscriminate acts on civilians. And so it keeps them from ever actually having to get in trouble for it. So here's another one. So if we ended qualified immunity, then police would certainly, well, hopefully, think a bit more. All right, let's do another sign. So another problem seems to be around police unions. In New York, we have the Police Benevolent Association, which is a police union that usually keeps cops from getting in trouble, police officers from getting in trouble for doing their various egregious acts on civilians. So maybe I can think of something catchy around police unions. I feel like there's something around the word union that's there, like community unity good, police unions bad. Oops, misspelled good there, wrote God. Let's do that one again. Let's do this in community unity good. And then let me get a police unions bad. All right, and then let's put a line between them. All right. Let's do another sign here. I think then we'll call an end to this. So I'm just, by the way, I didn't really show this for people that might be doing this with their teachers or anything like that. We've got, I'm just putting tape along the back of the sign to hold it up. Okay. So community unity good, police unions bad. If police unions were broken up, we'd probably see a lot of changes. They do a lot of protection. I mean, police unions are basically there just to protect police officers, typically from doing things. They're there to get police officers more money. Unions in general are good, but police unions, no, we could do without. We would be better without. All right. So that brings us to an end for our protest robots for today. We'll begin to publish, I think, the document with all the steps online, so people can follow us at home. We'll publish that, I guess, in the show notes, maybe. Figure out a way to do that. We've never actually done it that way before, but we'll do that. And stay safe out there, everyone. Demand change in your communities and your government. Have a great weekend. Bye.